Everyone talks about the creation of Israel as a Jewish state, but what we don't talk about is why. What was going on in Europe the previous 5 years where there was a plan to exterminate the Jewish people. So, from my perspective, I don't see a problem with carving out a piece of land that creates a safe haven for people that were literally being burned in ovens and trying to be wiped off of the face of the earth.
I mean, it's a powerful point you're making. Here's what I would say in response to that. The formation of the Jewish state does not begin in 1939, right? At the beginning, of World War II. The formation of the Jewish state doesn't even begin during the rise of power of Hitler, which happens almost a decade prior to that. The formation of the Jewish state begins in 1882, long before Hitler rose to power. Long before. Now, again, there were pogroms, there was anti-Semitism. There's been anti-Semitism for centuries, so there's no doubt about that. But we can't make the argument that the Nazi Holocaust was the impetus for the formation of the Jewish state when Zionists argue that in 1917, the Balfour Declaration gave them permission to have a Jewish state. Again, 2 decades prior. So we can't make that case. But historically, I would say that's not true. But there's another point I want to make. I want to get your thoughts on this.
Okay.
I'm going to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
The issue for me and most people is not people having a piece of land carved out that keeps them safe. Everybody deserves that. The problem is that piece of land that was carved out was done at the expense of somebody else. Israel didn't just land in an empty place. It landed in a region where there were already people there, and those people got kicked out, and the ones who stayed don't have equal rights.
Why is there such outrage, though, for the Jewish state that is surrounded by, and I know you just mentioned this, but surrounded by several Arab states or Islamic states? Why is it the Jewish people that there's outrage that we have a flag with a Jewish star on it when there are, as you know, there are tons of countries that have the Islamic crest, the Arab world, like, you understand?
Well, I want to. I think my last answer answers that question, but I said I want to push you again because you didn't kind of respond to what I said, which is often what happens in these debates, right? People pivot when you make a point about Israel being a settler colonial project. People say, "Why are we picking on the Jews?" I think you're right. We shouldn't just focus on Jewish people. I think you're right. We should focus on settler colonialism in Australia, in the United States, in Canada, everywhere. But the answer to your question is, the reason why people are focused on Israel is because it was created at the expense of others. Do you think that it is morally acceptable to create a Jewish state that ends up expelling 700,000 Arabs, Palestinians, and that right now has creates a system of injustice inside the state of Israel for the minority who are identified as Arab? Do you think that's okay?
I don't, but let me just preface one, because you know I lean on the liberal side of things.
Except for Palestine.
Liberal Jews like myself do not support Benjamin Netanyahu. Let me just state that. We don't support a lot of his war tactics right now. What troubles me as Hanukkah starts tomorrow night is that Jewish people in America, in London, in Paris have to worry about paying the price for the actions of a prime minister that we don't even like. It would be like Trump doing something outrageous, and an American in Shanghai has to worry about how he feels walking the streets because of something that their leaders.
Yeah, that's a powerful point. I mean, one, I would say we should never punish one group of people for the actions of a single person or a small group of people. I would argue, though, that that's exactly what's happening in Gaza right now, that the actions of Hamas have led to collective punishment, which is a war crime and a violation of international law against the Palestinian people. For every Hamas fighter that's been killed so far, 2 non-Hamas, just regular civilian people have been killed. That's a ratio that is unacceptable. We're talking about tens of thousands of people if we keep going at this rate. And right now, it's already between 15 and 20,000 people who have already been killed as an act of collective punishment. But again, I don't disagree with your point
Yeah,
that Jewish people shouldn't be. I mean, we shouldn't be closing down Hanukkah celebrations in Williamsburg, Virginia. We shouldn't be threatening or harming Palestinian people or Arab or other brown people or Muslims because of what's happening in Palestine. This should never happen, regardless of what's going on. We should never harm any Jewish people. Um, the question here, though, is again, what is the root cause of this? If we want to fix this, and I'm not playing the blame game or anything like that. I'm just saying, how do we fix this? And at the root of this is the thing that I feel like respectfully you avoided a little bit, which is again, although you said you don't agree with it, and that is that Israel is currently and has always been a settler colonial ethno state that has oppressed and dispossessed Palestinian people. And it's not just inside of Israel. Israel, as you know, controls the West Bank. Israel has effective control over Gaza. Palestinians are catching hell all over the world, and the ones who don't live there are exiled. And so, as long as that's happening, it's kind of hard to imagine that people won't resist and people won't have these kinds of battles. Again, I don't condone what happened on October 7th. I actually don't agree with what happened on October 7th. I'm just trying to figure out how to prevent more October 7th, but I also want to prevent more October 6th. You know what I'm saying? Like, because October 6th, everything wasn't okay. Gaza was bombarded. Gaza was sieged. Gaza was occupied effectively. I want to end that too, bro.
agree. I'm going to get back to my game now.
Yes, sir. Enjoy your game.
Thanks for having me on, though.
No doubt. Good to see you, man. Take care.
All right.